Just want us to be kind of eye to eye.
I'm trying to hide the box as a product behind.
Okay, are we live? Are you going to give me a countdown with fingers? Or?
Yeah, it says it's live on my end.
Oh, we're live.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay. Well then, let me get myself live too. I hear us. So here's what's happening. Hey, you guys, we're having a little bit of technical difficulty, and so I apologize. What I'm hearing is actually a delayed thing. I'm hearing something.
You're good to go.
Okay. We'll see how this goes, but I think what I'm hearing in my ear is something different than what's happening, but maybe we're all up and going now. So everybody, this is Jeana at Artist Skincare, and I want to welcome you back. This is our first great live show since the beginning of summer. We took the summer off. It's been a wonderful, refreshing time. We've gone out and had lots of fun. We've gotten some dark spots from playing in the sun. We've got a little rough texture, and now we're here in the fall, and we're coming right back at you to say, here's what we need to do for fall. Here's how we move back into a good skincare routine, and here's how we take care of that rougher texture and things that we've picked up over the summertime. So I ended off the year, or ended off just before summer, with Traci here from Is Clinical. Traci is their lead educator at Is Clinical, and I love having her here because she is so knowledgeable. I have to say, Is Clinical, twice a year, I really dive in deep. I mean, this is a line that's great all year round, but there's 2 times a year that just stand out in my mind. And that is in the spring leading into summer. I'm really wanting to get that extra protection that Is Clinical offers with their Gen XC, their extreme enzymes, and all that great epigenetics and antioxidant protection that you can't get anywhere else. But again, I have to come back at you as soon as summer ends because they are also that line, my go-to line, my love line for that fall time of year when we're wanting to think about adding some special products back in, as in retinol and some light peels. So today, Traci and I are going to be talking about retinol and peels. How's that, Traci? Can we do that?
That sounds perfect. Perfect. And I'm so happy to be here with you again, Jeana. Thank you very, very much.
Oh, you're very welcome. Very welcome. So let's just kick off the conversation. Let's start with retinol. You know, a lot of times people reach out to me and they'll say, you know, I just can't use retinol. I'm too sensitive, or they're wanting to know, well, what age should I be when I start retinol? Nowadays, we won't go in that there in this conversation, but nowadays we even see kids on TikTok getting onto retinol. We don't advocate for that. But tell us, when and for who should we consider using retinol? And even if you're a sensitive skin, we know that retinol is that #1 thing that's been tested for rejuvenating the skin. Talk to us about that. What should we know about retinol?
Oh my gosh. Well, first of all, retinol, vitamin A, we don't synthesize it ourselves, right? So we either have to ingest it or we have to apply it topically in order to reap the benefits. And Jeana, there's so many benefits from creating, cell mitosis. I think of it as like a normalizing vitamin. It's doing everything in the skin so the skin can function healthy and properly. So from cell turnover, a healthy keratinocyte maturation cycle, modulating sebum, brightening, immunity, wound healing. There's so many very, very important benefits of retinol and vitamin A. And it's just finding the right one for the right person. We know that skin, first of all, it's a vitamin A responsive organ. It loves vitamin A. And if we eat it, what's really kind of unfair, the largest organ of our body, which is our skin gets it the last. It's busy going to all of our different organs. And so that's why it's so important to apply it topically. That's
really awesome. Really awesome. So we hear about different types of retinol. There's, tretinoin, the big daddy retinol, which can cause a lot of irritation for people. And then we have retinol, and then now we see retinal, which originally we called retinaldehyde. And so talk to us a little, and we're seeing encapsulated retinols. And so talk to us about the Clinical Retinol. What are they doing with retinol to make it special?
So first of all, depending on the formulation, we don't focus in on one single ingredient. We're always going to focus on the final formulation and what are we trying to achieve for the skin. So sometimes we will actually use retinol palmitate, the ester. It all depends on the formulation. Are we using it as a vitamin for nutrients? Do we want to make sure we don't induce any type of a reaction in the skin, right? And of course, retinol palmitate is going to take longer to convert to retinoic acid in the skin once it makes it to that retinoic acid receptor. And so the longer it takes to get there, the more gentle in a sense that it's going to be.
Okay.
Then, and I mentioned to you earlier, we'll use retinols. We'll utilize keratolytic and we'll also use non-keratolytic. Non-keratolytic just means it's a smaller dose, nothing new in the world of science. It's just that we're trying to get the beautiful benefits of retinol, but kind of baby dose our way in to strengthen the skin and the cells.
Okay.
But then we'll have retinol. Retinol itself is it's going to take one more conversion, right, before it goes into retinoic acid. Still very powerful, but we know we're going to induce some type of a keratolytic effect, the softening of the protein, the dehydration of the cells. But we have to understand mechanism of action, and that's part of turning over the protein, creating beautiful, fresh, new, healthy cells, purging pigmentation, softening fine lines and wrinkles, those textural abnormalities, besides everything that's beautiful happening deeper in the tissue. And so it all depends on what we're trying to achieve in our client's skin is what we're going to use in our formulation.
Okay. So you started kind of here's the gentlest and here's where it gets more active and it's actually performing. So many times I'll have a client say, well, I'm getting retinol. They're picking up an over-the-counter product somewhere and it has a retinol in it, and you don't see any real results. It's nice, you're not seeing any flaking or changing in the skin, but you're also not seeing those great results. What we're after is how do we get those great results, that brightening of pigmentation, the firming, the increasing of the collagen pad, that balancing of oil. How do we get all of that without getting those negative effects like over dryness or flaking or irritation? How do you guys do that?
I love that question. Now, first of all, Jeana, it's important to note not all retinols are created equal, number one.
Yeah.
It's all about the conversion. And it's also about the final formulation and what we're trying to achieve for the client's skin. As you know, with his clinical, we're always going to use the highest quality of ingredients. And so you're going to get the very best retinol out there. One other thing I want to put out there too is we know there's a point in a time for retinoic acid, pure retinoic acid, tretinoin, right? For medical purposes, but there's also issues with long-term use of that acid end form of that vitamin A. Okay. So what we know with using retinols, there is no long-term issues with using, let's say, a retinol forever, but you want the highest quality of ingredient. And with his clinical, we're always going to use pharmaceutical grade. Ours are plant-based. We don't use animal derived ever. And so, but always the highest quality. In fact, our ingredients, they come with what's called a certificate of analysis. And so they go through what's called a mass spectrometer testing to make sure we're truly getting the highest quality, the purest form. And they don't have other, fillers, fertilizers, other crud, I should say, mixed with the ingredient.
I have to say that is just so important. I mean, any brand or anyone who wants to create a brand can go to a formulator and have a retinol put into their brand. But that's very different than going to a company like Clinical and having them put a retinol, because they're not just going out in the mass market and buying the retinol ingredient and putting it in. It's a very different experience.
Absolutely. And that's true.
So,
that's very important.
Yeah. This is medical grade. This is the bomb. But I often say this, that if I could give out the Art of Skincare Awards, for the last 2 years, the retinol, my number one retinol of choice, and it's hard to do this because I sell a lot of great brands and I respect them, but the retinol emulsion, 0.3%,
Mhm.
In my mind, for me, this is won the Jeana Award. This is the Artist Skincare Awards for innovation, because not only for the retinol that's in it, but the way you guys formulated and synthesized it with other ingredients that take care of inflammation, take care of dryness or flaking or peeling. You just don't get that with this retinol. And it starts out gentle, and you'll see just gentle changes happening at first. But in the long run, 2 months from now, you're going to be like, wow, my skin, it's firmer, it's brighter, it looks younger. So tell us about how you guys came up with the combination of ingredients, what we call the formulation. How did you guys do that?
Well, first of all, for a long time we were asked why is Clinical did not create or have in our portfolio a more traditional keratolytic retinol formulation. And in true Is Clinical form, our company is not going to put something out there just because, unless there's something very special about it. So if we're going to induce, let's say, or stimulate a certain effect in the skin, the formulation has to be very efficacious, and it has to be where the skin is truly benefiting and the skin will be much healthier having used our product. So this took a while to create this formulation, or two formulations, I should say, of our Retinol Plus emulsions, because they had to be very special. So if I can just say, what is the issue with, in fact, I've seen it within myself, the issue with clients being able to stay on utilizing a retinol formulation is they don't understand the mechanism of action. They don't understand all the erythema, the edema. They think they're sensitive. They think they're sensitized.
I think they're allergic to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So they become non-compliant and they stop using the product. So we had to create a formulation that was going to be very protective of barrier function. It was going to be very anti-inflammatory. We know there's a little bit of inflammation that needs to be stimulated in order to create a healing response in the tissue, but we want it controlled. And then on top of all the other beautiful ingredients that are what we call retinol boosters, again, focus on that name, Retinol Plus Emulsion. It's the plus factor. It's everything that this entire formulation does in order to really benefit the retinol, but the skin is going to be much healthier having utilized this product and also even protecting barrier function as well, which is number one, I think one of the biggest frustrations with our clients. They don't understand the dryness that takes place, right?
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. So yeah, just to recap that, because I feel like I can't say it enough for you guys and for my clients, is the formulation of this. It's not just a product with some retinol thrown in it, or it's not retinol with some acid put in it to make it more active. It's actually so well thought out that I know for years I thought, well, why doesn't Is Clinical, like you said, why don't they have a real retinol? But you guys waited and you worked at it till you had this formula that's award-winning in my book.
It is award-winning. It is award,
Yeah.
and it's clinically proven. We have 6 clinical studies on our Retinol Plus emulsions. So from subject studies to gene activation studies, I mean, our company really invests a lot of money into making sure that these are really validated products before we put them out on the market. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. So talk to us about the 0.3. I have a number of people watching today. They've probably been using the 0.3 for a year or two. Should we bump up to 1% or should we stay at the 3? Share with us your thoughts on that.
Oh, I love the 0.3%. Just to let you know, I'm a rosacea patient. I was an acne sufferer as a kid growing up. Now genetics, it plays a role, right? So I battle rosacea. My skin loves the 0.3% because it is truly based on the gene activation studies. We can call this an anti-inflammatory. Technically the 1% is as well, but the 0.3% is going to be ideal for, first of all, think about your first time users, people that are worried about, having issues in the past, being more sensitive or sensitized. They think they've been allergic, and so they've been non-compliant with being able to stay on their retinols. And honestly, unless you truly have thicker skin, thicker pigmentation, bigger issues, the 0.3% for most of our clients is going to be more than enough.
Okay.
So understanding your client and when should we bump them up to the 1%. Yeah.
Okay. So when this product came out,
Yeah.
And we were like, oh, this is going to be really strong. We were kind of, warned about 1%. And I thought, okay, I need to test this out and see what really happens. So my husband, who's never used retinol, he's got pretty strong skin, though. He was oily as a young man. And so I sent him home with 1%. And I told him, just use it however you want. Use it every night. Actually, I did tell him, just use it a couple nights a week. Well, he used it every night till he used the bottle up. He did not have any redness, no irritation, no flaking, but his skin looked radiant and great. Yeah. So just as a testimony to that formulation in that way, not to say that somebody who's rosacea or very sensitive should use 1%, but when do you choose when to start someone with a 3%, 0.3 versus 1? If somebody's already been using a retinol from another company, or maybe they've been using tretinoin, and
that's
what do you recommend?
Mm-hmm. Most clients I'm going to recommend the 0.3%. And if we need to, we're always looking for bigger, better, faster, stronger, right?
I know. And sometimes that's not the right idea.
And sometimes that's not what is needed. Yeah. But then I'll bump them to the 1%. However, if you have, because these are so protective, Jeana, because they're so efficacious, but we're working with that inflammatory response, we're protecting that barrier function. And real quick, by the way, the 0.3% is more than a 0.3%. The 1% is more than a 1% because of all boosters that we use. But because they're so protective and anti-inflammatory, we're controlling that inflammatory response. If I had a client that was already using retinoic acid, tretinoin, or if they were on another company's 1% retinol, because I know how protective of this is, I would transfer them over to this with no concern
with no worries at all.
Yeah, okay. No worries.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. That's a good assessment. All right. I want to let everybody know that we are going to open up to questions. So I know you guys can have lots of questions about retinols. We're going to open up for that in a few minutes. But before we do that, I want to talk a little bit from my own standpoint of moving into fall and how I'm coaching my clients. And as we move into fall, I usually coach my clients to move in kind of a skin cycling routine in the evening. So they're alternating evenings. They're using retinol one evening and then maybe using your more nourishing, your stem cells and things like that on the other evening. And just you're offering your skin this resurfacing, this kind of corrective action. And then in the next night, you're offering your skin that food and the nourishment it needs to produce really healthy cells. I love doing that. So we can do that with the retinol that we talked about. But Clinical has another product that's really also perfect, especially for kickstarting going into fall, and that is their active peel systems. Their active peel systems are a peel that is used every other night. So you can have your exfoliation, your treatment night, and then the next night you can do some repair and recovery and hydration, and then you're just doing that every other night. The beauty of this system is that you rarely see any downtime. You're not going to see much of any flaking, but you're just gradually lifting layer after layer of old dead skin cells off, which brightens the skin, firms the skin, does so many great things. And I'm going to let Traci give you guys more about that. But let's dive into it, Traci. Let's talk about the two peel system. The original one is our blue box, the active peel system. The new is in a silver box, and it's our brightening system. And it's even called extra strength brightening. So let's talk about those.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Active peel system. That was based on the popularity of our active serum. Listen, everybody loves peel pads. And so that's where, Brian, our owner, our chief formulator, he said, okay, let's see what we can do to create something that is so widely requested. These have become one of our best selling products, the active peel system, because it's such a wonderful way to amplify the benefits of your home care regimen. And everything in it is about exercising the cell turnover. It's packed with nutrients, rejuvenating, hydrating ingredients that just escalates that home care regimen. We all want to know when we're on a good regimen, we see the beautiful benefits on our skin. There's nothing that says more than when we see our own improvement in our skin. And so let's say I start using the Retinol Plus Emulsion. fallen in love with it, loving this. I want to escalate it. What I could do is every other night use my retinol plus emulsion, and then the next night use my active peel system just to escalate those beautiful benefits that I'm seeing in my skin. And listen, I'm the same way. In summertime, I'm out working in the yard. I'm pulling weeds. I'm exercising. I'm hiking. I'm biking. And guess what? I have too much pigmentation on my skin. And
Welcome
so
to the
I'm
club.
seeing
Yeah.
I'm
It
seeing
means
the
we're
information.
enjoying life. It's a good
No,
thing.
that's right. I'm not going to stop living. So what I
No.
do is I know now that I'm going to be out of the sun a little bit more. So I'm pulling my vitamin A in. I want to turn over that protein to help to kind of normalize, get my skin back down to that baseline pigmentation, but improve that texture. The active peel system gives you that beautiful, healthy, glassy radiance that we
It
talk a
does.
lot about with our products. And so it's just going to elevate your own benefits, but it also helps with practitioners. So when we want to come in and see you, Jeana, and we want to have a bigger treatment, it kind of prepares the skin to accept these bigger treatments in office, even more powerful peels even. And so we have
Yes.
more optimal outcomes too. So we're strengthening the skin. We're getting back to that baseline pigmentation. Great alternative, the active peel system and the retinol plus emulsions.
I love that. Over the last year and a half, we've done what we call peel-a-thons. And that's where we get on Facebook and we have a private group in there, and we've done the active peel system as a group. We've had up to 50 people at a time all doing this together every other day. People post their before pictures, their progress pictures, the after pictures, and
Beautiful.
hands
Yeah.
down,
And no
amazing. Some
downtime.
people
No
will,
downtime.
yeah,
Yeah.
no downtime. Although my clients on that group often want to flake. They're like,
Yeah.
make it flake. And so I have special things that we do to make it flake for those people. But whether they flake or they don't flake, the 30-day difference is astounding. So this has been great. So why? Why do we need
Why?
this? What's this about? Yeah.
Bigger, better, faster, stronger. So now
Okay.
let's say you have those clients that say, I want even more. Let's say you have a client that has more pigmentation, more aggressive melasma, let's say.
Okay.
Sometimes we need to amp it up a notch. We need to
All
be
right.
a little bit more powerful with turning over that protein. The extra strength active peel brightening system, it has a higher concentration of acids. And then that's in the first packet. And then in the second packet, we have more rejuvenating ingredients to deal with more
Okay.
photo damage. We're just
Okay.
amping up the benefits of our active peel system. So it's really up to, let's say, you, Jeana, on whether you think your client can tolerate this. You know where it's
Okay.
fantastic for as well is acne. Extra strength
Okay,
active
I
peel brightening
have,
system.
yes, we have been using this with acne clients and
Yeah.
seeing better results than with this.
Better
Sometimes with
results.
acne clients, we're seeing a little purging breakouts along the way. We're not seeing that so much with this one. Why is
No.
that?
Sometimes we need to get tough. So
Okay.
this, because it has more acids, and you're also dealing in the step one, the first packet, you're dealing with two forms of your beta hydroxy. You're dealing with a lab derived salicylic acid and still our botanically derived the willow bark, and that is very important so we can penetrate within that follicle, dissolve that sebum, but also reduce the inflammation and balance out the microbiome too. We need to cut down that the Cutibacterium or Propionibacterium acnes, as we both know. So, and you're going to find a quicker response for
Need
healing.
scissors.
That's a tough packet.
It is. Everyone's like too distracted. I'm sorry. I'm going to quit doing that. Garrick's going to find scissors while you continue on. So there are two packets. And that's what's beautiful about it. The first one you were explaining, that's our exfoliants.
Yes.
That's our acids. And so we're going to rub that all over. And we don't rinse it off. And then we rub on number 2, thank you, Garrick, which is our anti-inflammatory, healing, pro-aging,
Hydration, brightening.
This is what's going to stop an inflammatory hyperpigmentation type situation. We're not going to see that pigmentation being stimulated.
Mhm.
But let me show you guys, since I've gone through all this.
Jeana, as you're opening these,
Yes.
another reminder is these are fantastic. Let's say you want to get away for a weekend. If you took, let's say, of the Active Peel system, a travel size of your cleansing complex, you packed about 3 of your Active Peel systems and let's say a travel sun protection, that's all you need to do for a getaway for a weekend. Extra strength because it's
Okay.
more powerful. You want to be a little more careful because it
Okay.
will create a more keratolytic effect. Yeah.
Okay. So what you're saying is you can take this on vacation. Your skin's going to look glowing and great, and you're not going to have to worry about getting flaky and peely and
Super travel friendly.
that kind of stuff. So these pads are fabulous. I rub them all over. I do my neck, my back, my chest, whatever's left over on my arms.
Arms, keratosis pilaris too. Fantastic.
Yes.
The little bumpies that we get on the back of the arms. Yeah.
Yes. So for those of you who are interested and you want to do a peel like this, and maybe you're a little nervous, I have a master class on Thursday. We're doing an Art of Skincare peel master class. So if you want to do that, reach out to our chat on Art of Skincare. My estheticians there can give you the link. It's a private group, and we're not doing it on YouTube. It's on another platform, but it's going to be a lot of fun, and really learning all the things that go with how to prep your skin for a peel, how to do the peel, how to boost the peel, and what you should be doing on non-peel days versus peel days. All of that kind of stuff will be in that class. But so here's step 1. I put that on. Now I'm going to grab step 2.
You're normally going to let that penetrate for 3 minutes.
Yes,
Then
3
you go to
minutes.
step-
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that. It's not hard to just let it sit for 3 minutes. That 3 minutes goes by pretty fast.
Yeah.
I've been known to be talking and doing these on film and even have it on my skin for 4 or 5 minutes and then go to the next step. And so depending on the strength of your skin, you can likely get away with that. But if you have more sensitive skin or you haven't used this peel before, stick to the time frame and even maybe a little less time at first, and that's okay. You can definitely modify and listen to your skin. So this is so yummy. I can just rub this on all over.
It feels good. It's going to
Yes.
soothe. Think of it as neutralizing the first packet, but it's all about hydration, calming, and soothing, but stimulating more collagen. There's even some ingredients that we have an ingredient. I just need to mention this called snowflake bulb extract that is very unique, and it kind of quiets the melanocyte. But you know what it also does is it softens that neuromuscular contraction, the expression lines. And we have ingredients that give your cells more energy. This is really a phenomenal formulation.
And I didn't really realize that you had that expression softening ingredient in there. So yeah, take it with you when you're wanting to look at your best. Yeah, that's really great. Really great. Okay, I'm going to open up because I know we're going to have a lot of questions coming in here. So I'm going to grab my phone and let's start working through questions because I want to have time for everybody to get their answers here. Sharon says, how do we incorporate brightening complex? Which I love. Yes, we love brightening complex. Brightening serum and brightening complex are amazing. I like brightening complex even as a moisturizer.
Absolutely. And I'm glad
would you like to talk about that? Yeah,
brightening complex is our absolute go-to product for more aggressive pigmentation because it deals with the whole process of pigmentation stimulation, which is melanogenesis. And as you mentioned, Jeana, it is very hydrating and protective. It has key ingredients that protect barrier function, locking in moisture and hydration. So I would recommend, because we're inundated during the day with more, obviously the sun, pollution and so forth, it's our most antioxidant rich formulation. So we recommend to use your brightening complex in the daytime. And then if you use the retinol, either the 0.3 or the 1%, especially the 1% for more aggressive melasma, thicker skin, that is a beautiful combination. And then do your pulse therapy. Again, what we were talking about earlier, retinol plus emulsion one night, your active peel system another night. That
Yeah.
is, or extra strength, depending on the client and what you feel that they could tolerate, we could interject with the extra strength active peel brightening system. That is going to be a
So if we're
fantastic.
using brightening complex
Uh-huh.
and we're doing a nighttime skin cycling,
Yeah.
we could do retinol emulsion one night and brightening complex the next night. And you could
No,
just alternate like that
or do brightening complex every day.
during the
Every day
daytime.
in the daytime, because that's when
Yes.
we're inundated with most of the damaging factors,
Okay.
all the environmental aggressors. So use that in the
Okay.
daytime, and then at nighttime, use your retinol plus emulsion,
Okay.
or either the active peel system or the extra strength active peel
So a
brightening.
couple things that you can do at nighttime then. You're going to use your complex during the day. At nighttime, you're going to use retinol emulsion every other night.
Yep.
Or you can, if you want to do your 30-day peel and you want to incorporate retinol as well, you can do one night your retinol, the next night your active peel system.
Perfect.
And if you're doing the peel with me and you're doing a master class, we'll do it even a little bit differently. But that's a great protocol. I love that, having that brightening complex in the morning. Do you still, Traci, with that, use Gen XC or one of the vitamin C's with it, or is your brightening complex enough?
You know what? Sometimes we will recommend our Super Serum Advanced Plus to be applied first with brightening
Okay.
complex on top for
Okay.
even more aggressive pigmentation. It's so safe and effective, non-hydroquinone, which works against itself.
Yes. Right.
That is a beautiful
I'm going to do
regimentation.
that.
Yeah,
I'm going to do
Super
that
Serum
tomorrow.
So
Super
clean skin,
serum,
Super
brightening
Serum Advanced Plus,
complex.
brightening complex, sun protection. You may or may not need an extra hydrator because, as you said, brightening complex is so hydrating.
It's so hydrating, but this is just that perfect segue, so I can't miss
Yeah,
it.
well,
You
and
have a
that's-
new baby. Is Clinical had a baby.
Yes.
And this is what she looks like. And it's Daily Dynamic Hydrator with Gen XC in it. So if you're wanting to put on your brightening complex, you could layer this moisturizer on top of it during the day if you have a little more normal to dry skin and you're needing a little moisture with
Yes.
that serum. So this just went on the website today. Traci is going to be coming back. Thankfully, you're going to come back in October, and we're going to talk about Gen XC and Daily Dynamic Hydrator, and we're going to get more into epigenetics again and the advanced vitamin C's. But I just couldn't help but give this a little bit of a plug. We're so excited about it. It feels very creamy and balmy on the skin. However, it dries down to a more normal skin finish. I wouldn't say that it's absolutely matte. It's not matte, because somebody with oily skin is going to get mad at me and say that is not matte. But it doesn't stay really shiny on the skin, yet the skin still feels very soft and protected by it. So when you're needing an extra bit of moisture and you're wanting that, the extreme enzymes and the Gen XC and all of that, this moisturizer, fabulous, really fabulous. Talk to me a little bit about moisturizers with your retinol emulsion. If we're using that 0.3, say, are you topping that with a moisturizer, or are you just putting that on and calling it done, Traci?
I can tell you what, we're always going to recommend a hydrator. There's always an exception to the rule that breaks, like including me, because there is shea butter within our formulation, high quality shea butter within our retinol plus emulsion. It is very protective of barrier function. There's other ingredients that are known. In fact, our extreme enzymes, ectoin, is known for being very hydrating and locking in moisture as well. So for me, I'm a little more oily, battle rosacea. The 0.3% for me is more than enough at nighttime. With that being said, with clients with more epigenetic issues, people that have, overprocessed, overexposed, more pigmentation,
Needing more healthy aging support.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they're not used to using a retinol, we're going to definitely recommend a hydrator to help with any keratolytic kind of effects that you might incur. So we want to make sure that the clients are really understanding mechanism of action. Number one, that this is normal from a vitamin A. We need to turn over that protein. It's softening of the protein, dehydration of the cells for a reason. We need to turn over that protein. But so a hydrator is going to help you get through that hump and really accept these very well. But you're going to find that these are so tolerable. The 1% is definitely more keratolytic. So we
Right. You're going to see it
definitely recommend.
faster.
Yeah. Reparative
So
moisture.
my thing that I've discovered with these, so I'll give this tip out there to people experimenting with this, is that either of the retinol emulsions do fine with a nice light hydrator. Even the dynamic daily would be fine. But I don't experience the best results when I'm putting on a heavy balm. An oily balm or a shea butter. I mean, we have shea butter in that, but it's very highly refined and it's acne safe. But putting on a thicker, balmier moisturizer on top of that, I found that kind of slows it all down too much.
That's exactly what it does. We're
Yeah.
trying to
Yeah.
induce a keratolytic effect. That's what's going to
Yes,
purge.
we want to actually,
Yeah.
turn that over.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, great. Okay, I've got some more questions popping up here. Luann says there are long-term effects. Oh, you mentioned there are long-term effects to using tretinoin. What are they, and why can't you continue to use it if you aren't having any problems?
Okay, I love that too.
Yes.
Studies show that if clients are truly using retinoic acid, tretinoin, long term every single day, they have a hard time getting beyond that keratolytic effect, that irritant factor, which has some benefits with using tretinoin. And with that being said, it can actually induce inflammation and it can also cause a little bit of thinning in the tissue too. That is if you're using it nonstop. We know that there's certain very important medical benefits to using tretinoin, like for acne and very, very severe melasma. There's certain times we need it. It's appropriate, but not for long-term use. And so sometimes there's pulse therapy, or again, getting your client onto a retinol to be able to utilize, for long-term benefits. There's no issues with long-term use with retinols.
Right. And so with tretinoin, what I see working with all of my clients is that many times they have to back off the tretinoin so far. They're using it once a week or something like that, and it's not enough to get the great benefits that you want from a regular use. The other thing that I see quite commonly is many clients using tretinoin and using it on the regular. Like you said, they're having a constant light inflammation effect, but it's also because the skin is constantly under attack. It's creating a different kind of skin tissue, which and it has a name for it, but I'm dumping it all down for us because I would dump it down for my brain. But the skin tissue is more ropey, and it's more like a callousy kind of texture that builds up on the skin. So clients that I've seen that have overused their tretinoin, been using it for too long, too often, they've got more of a ropey, callousy texture developing on the skin that you don't want. That's not what we're after.
Yeah.
So those are the kind of cautions, those are the kind of things that I see with that. To answer your question, Luann.
Good question.
Okay, we have Joseph here. How does Gen XC 20% vitamin C avoid rapid oxidation without ferulic acid in the formula?
Oh,
Let's get
good question.
technical.
Yeah. Again, it's based on the high quality of L-ascorbic acid that we utilize. Our other formulations, we use second generation of vitamin C's. That gets us away from having to use a 20%, number one. And makes it mix well with other ingredients, number two. And, we're not so pH specific. The L-ascorbic acid that we use in Gen XC serum, along with Kakadu plum extract, it's another form of vitamin C, we are trying to induce a certain effect. It also has mixed fruit acids, so we want that desquamation. We want to encourage that cell turnover with Gen XC serum. And then, again, it's based on the entire formulation that is really protecting the efficacy and the shelf life. Everything has to go through stability testing in order to have a certain shelf life. So shelf life is one thing, and then open container is something different as well. But it's the entire formulation. Ferulic acid, again, it does that supports vitamin C in most issues, but based on the quality in our entire formulation, that's not needed.
Yeah, just not needed. We really saw an emphasis, 20 years ago on ferulic acid. It was because it was needed. The type of ascorbic acid we were using at that time needed that ferulic acid. But now, depending on the formulator and where they're getting that ascorbic acid and how it's formulated, the molecules, it's not needed. anymore. So, yeah, sometimes when you see a vitamin C and fructonic acid in my brain, I'm almost like, oh, that must be old school. That's not next generation vitamin C. That they must be using an old vitamin C type
Yeah,
formulation.
and we use, I want to say, like 4 different types of vitamin C's depending on the formulation. We use lipid soluble. We have a second generation like in
Yes.
ProHeal and Super Serum Advanced Plus.
Yes.
We even have one in our Retinol Plus emulsions, and it's complex with gold, and so that makes it very unique. So it mixes with copper and it mixes
Yes.
with retinol too, so they don't have competing pH requirements.
Right. We get that question so often. So I'm glad that Joseph asked this question and brought that up, because so many people will say, I know I'm not supposed to use vitamin C and retinol. What do we do about that? Well, you've got to have the right kind of vitamin C. You've got to have it in order for it all, and it's got to be tested and formulated just right. Delivery systems and formulations matter. There's such it's been going on for quite a while, that craze of that really natural, organic skincare where we're just putting these raw ingredients into something and mixing them up and putting them on. And that's very different than when we talk about a professional skincare product that's being made and formulated in a lab so that it's synergistic, so that it's all interplaying correctly. You've got real chemists in there looking at this and then testing it on people. It's just a huge difference in the results you're going to see, the performance, the feel, everything. Yeah.
Absolutely. Good question.
Okay. Yes. Wonderful.
I love the questions. Yeah.
Yeah, we've got great clients at Artist Skincare. What we say is that we're helping our clients to become their own skincare experts, and they really are. They take knowledge from us.
Question. That's a good question.
Yeah, and then they go out and they do some of their own research, and they come back and ask us again, and we're like, okay, well, let's do it. Sharon is on here again. She says, I need help with firming and moisturizing. What products are best? So the best firming and moisturizing, I know right off the bat, I'm going to pull out that retinol emulsion, 0.3%, and I'm going to grab out the new Daily Dynamic Hydrator. But you share with us, Traci, from your perspective. They hear me all the time and what I say to put on. Let's hear from you. What are you going to choose to put on somebody who's seeing some laxity going on and wanting to get more firmness? Sharon, if you don't mind, pop in here and tell us your age. And depending on your age, if you're having hormone or menopause symptoms yet. That's always interesting to hear when we are recommending. I'll let you know, Traci, when she pops in with her answer. But in the meantime, what do you recommend for firming and moisturizing?
My go-to is going to be our Retinol Plus emulsion, without a doubt. Think of it again based on the entire formulation.
I saw that immediately. I know. The first thing I saw with retinol emulsion was all of a sudden this firming. I went, what?
Yeah. Well, and it's clinically backed. That formulation, again, I was talking to you before about this, Jeana. So the clinical validation behind this product and what's called gene activation study. And what do I mean by gene activation study? It's where a cosmeceutical is able to be applied to the tissue, and the skin can talk back to the genes. So we're sending out healthier signals. The skin looks younger because it's acting younger.
Yes.
And there's one specific, well, technically in the 0.3 and the 1%, where we worked on what's called the dermal epidermal junction. And that's a space in between your epidermis and your dermis. And strong gene activation with strengthening that dermal epidermal junction. And so you're going to get better cohesion between the epidermis and the dermis. And so that means firmer, tighter skin, which is key when we're aging.
More integration.
We're always doing this.
So Sharon shared that she's 67.
Oh gosh. Oh, okay. Fantastic.
Yeah, I love that. So she's like me. I'm 62. So she's postmenopausal. And we see so much because of the estrogen dipping. We're seeing so much difference in our collagen levels. So getting that epigenetics happening to where we're stimulating that strength in here is...
Can I add one more thing? The clinical studies are so impressive, even with the before and after pictures with our Retinol Plus emulsions with our clients, especially in the 1%. Deep rhytides, we're losing that collagen. That architecture that keeps our skin nice and plump and firm
Yeah.
is changing, as you mentioned. That is so important. But the clinical studies, the before and afters, when we come back and we're talking about the daily dynamic hydrator, are so
Okay.
impressive for firming and tightening
Okay.
also. Really some
Okay.
impressive before and afters with the jowl area too on that
Okay.
formula.
Daily dynamic hydrator.
Yeah.
I love that. We just got this bottle in a couple days ago. Prior to that, we had little foil packs, and I was stealing them all, taking them home, putting it on my skin. I
It's
love
lovely.
this
And it
product.
smells beautiful too. It
It
feels
does.
silky and
It
velvety. It
does.
smells. It's the botanicals.
Yeah.
We don't add fragrance into our products. If we ever notice, if you look on the ingredients and it ever mentions fragrance, it's not because
Yeah,
we're
tell us
adding
about that.
fragrance. Yeah, it's
Okay.
because it's a secondary benefit. Sometimes our ingredients, they have a primary benefit, a secondary, and a tertiary. So if, let's say, a
Okay.
botanical smells good, we still have to call it out as a
Okay.
fragrance.
Yes,
So,
that's the new labeling laws.
labeling
And
laws.
people are getting upset and worried
Yeah,
about that. So I'm glad
yeah.
we've touched on that because they're worried that there's phthalates in there, there's fragrances that are going to disrupt hormones. It's
Yeah.
not the case.
We
This
don't
is
add any of
botanical
that.
ingredients that are really in there for other reasons, but they do at the same time provide a
They
really
smell
nice
good.
scent to
Yeah.
the product. Yeah,
Yeah.
really nice. Okay. We did it. Traci, I love having you on. I can't
I
wait
love
to
being
have you
here.
on again. We just have to do this on the regular. I
I'm
learned
grateful
so
to be
much
here.
from you. Thank you
Thank
so
you so
much.
much.
So I
So
just
much.
want to thank everybody for tuning in today. Thank you, Traci, for being here. And we'll see you all again really soon.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye, everybody.